takeaways. Your agency new business video series will refocus on one new business category and give you 3 takeaways to help improve your new business program. All right, this is our 3rd annual Halloween episode. I love Halloween, and we enjoy our Halloween episodes, Craig and I, but I don't need to tell you this year is scary enough, right? And it's scary for salespeople particularly, although it doesn't have to be. Now, more on that in a moment, but why do I say that? Well, channels salespeople used to depend on have changed or are temporarily gone, as probably all know, right? I mean, decline in business travel, decline in face-to-face interaction, and a decline in events. So there's more competition for a prospect's time right now, if that's even possible. And with that increased competition, though, comes a prospect who's even more selective in what meetings they'll take. All right, so that's why past recent episodes we've talked about agency owners needing to be careful when hiring for a new business role today, right? Individuals who relied predominantly on an outside sales type of process, they don't always translate to that inside sales skill set. So I mentioned the sales process doesn't have to be harder than it always is. Not right now. Now, why is that? Well, going to get into it in our 3 takeaways, and we're going to keep the Halloween spirit at the forefront and give you examples of 3 new business creatures that you never want to become. All right, here's your first creature. Your first takeaway is don't ever transform into the creature from Just Island. All right, I wrote a post around this. It's actually been a couple of years, but recently Dan Gershenson, who heads up Caliber Brand Strategy, posted about it on LinkedIn. And credit where it's due, he nailed it. All right, so this sales creature from Just Island only provides useful information on that very first touch. And then on the remaining touches after that follows up with some version of just reaching out, or just touching base, or just bumping this up to the top of your email, and not much else. I mean, occasionally, maybe some kind of half-hearted attempt at talking about a feature or something, but typically it's a string of follow-up emails all with that version of just attached to the beginning of it. Lesson in this, don't stop adding value or showing a level of insight after the first touch. Just being lazy. Thanks, Dan, for that. Okay, the second creature that you don't ever want to turn into. That second takeaway is don't ever become the mindless email zombie. The mindless email zombie never met, a mass email that he didn't like. You know, when it comes to new business and trying to drive it during COVID especially, these zombies have saturated prospect inboxes on email and LinkedIn. You know, email blasts have their place at the start of a reach out, for example, or an ongoing newsletter. But if that's all you're doing, touch after touch, you may get lucky occasionally, but it's not the way to operate. It will become so blatantly obvious to your prospects that you didn't take the time to do even the slightest bit of homework or specialization, which is easy to do these days, right? I mean, even a quick look at the site, the prospect site or LinkedIn page, usually, not every single time, but usually gives you something to show you're paying attention. That prospect sees there is a reason for you to reach out. All right, the third and final creature, that sales creature you don't want to turn into, and your third takeaway, don't haunt your prospects by becoming the waiting new business ghost. All right, the waiting new business ghost is forever waiting and manifests itself in 2 situations particularly. The first is at the very top of the funnel. That salesperson who is always waiting for that perfect piece of content or that brand new case study. Yes, you need those things, but you can't wait because while you're waiting, someone else is talking to your prospects. All right, I've said it before. If you have nothing else, Google is always your friend. You can find something relevant to back up your expertise. Right? And the second example of this eternal waiting, this ghost, is after that first meeting. Could be the second, could be after a presentation. But an important caveat to this, if your prospect, of course, has specifically said, I need 2 weeks or I can't make any decisions until X date, then of course, you need to respect that. But you've been in situations where it's not defined and you let your prospects control things. And I get that. Look, it could be tough. It could be a little touchy because you don't want to annoy them. But we had a marketer survey question on agency follow-up in a few of our previous new business reports. And while it's been a couple of years, it still stands. It was around 70% of marketers that said agencies don't follow up enough. Now, what you don't want to do is transform from the waiting new business ghost into that creature from Just Island, where you're just checking in, just whatever. I mean, if you don't try to sell in every piece of follow-up, By the way, even if they did say, give me 2 weeks, you can still check back in, but you're not saying I'm just checking back in. Instead, you're giving them something of value, even if it's a link to an article tying into your expertise that makes sense. I mean, you're staying in front of them without being annoying in that case. In fact, just the opposite, you're being helpful. All right, another Halloween episode in the can. Thanks for watching 3 Takeaways. Lots of new business content on our resources page at the URL below. We're here to help you drive new business if you need it, RSWUS.com. Happy Halloween.